Welcome to this podcast. My name is Steve Nobel, and today I'm interviewing Chris Waters on the path of the shaman. Now, Chris Waters is a trustee director of alternatives and founder of Lifetimes, an organisation based in Reading offering courses and events on personal development and spiritual awakening. Chris Waters is a senior teacher for Four Winds, Medicine Wheel and Healing Light Body School in Europe. As well as teaching, she has a busy shamanic practice in Reading. She's a technician of the sacred, a storyteller, a myth maker who performs ceremonies and ritual to celebrate and remember the sacred aspects of our lives. And today we're talking on shamanism. So welcome, Chris, and I have a question for you, which is, what is shamanism and what does it offer to people living in the modern world?
That's a really good question. I like to think of shamanism in today's society, at any rate, as a way of holding a vision for people. The old shaman of previous times would be the one who lived outside of the village, who was able to track where the buffalo were going to be or the salmon were going to be in 3 days' time, or was able to track the health and well-being of their tribe. And in a way, it's no different today. The shaman of today does something similar, but rather than track for elk and buffalo, what we are tracking for is a healed world, a healed planet, a healed client, a vision of wholeness, and that's the role of the shaman. And of course, in order to do that, as a shaman, we have to work on our own wholeness, our own wellness, our own ability to hold that vision clean and clear for people. We have to hold it for ourselves in that way too.
What is the basic philosophy of shamanism?
This is a really difficult question, Steve, because for the basic philosophy is that my way of thinking anyway is that there is a fourfold path to wholeness. Every tradition has the medicine wheel that has 4 directions, and each of those directions holds a certain quality. And in today's world, that 4 is show up, pay attention, speak your truth, and let go of the outcome. And that's held in many of the peacemaking traditions of today's world, in today's society. And the ancient peoples saw those qualities as animistic. So for the Inca tradition that I've been trained in with Alberto Villoldo's school, those 4 qualities are serpent in the south, who holds that place of the wounded healer. And when we step into that place of serpent, we are walking soft belly upon the earth, as serpent does, and seeing the world as it seems to be, without any judgment, without any attachment, and without any suffering. And so this is show up. Then when you've worked your way through that south place of serpent, then you can step into the place of the west, the next direction on the medicine wheel, and you step into the place of jaguar, which is pay attention. So jaguar is a great tracker of the jungle. Jaguar is the part of us that senses, that can sniff out that gut instinct that works through the feeling body, so that, when you get those feelings of something's wrong here, or something's not quite right, or something's really good here, those feelings come from that place of jaguar. And in our tradition, in the Inca tradition, when we step into the West, we also step into that place of nothing is exactly as it seems to be, because we're working through our emotions. And for each of us, the world looks different through our emotions, because each of us have an individual experience that allows us to see the world differently. So you and I may see the same situation, but see it differently through different eyes, because our experience has been different. Our eyes are clouded by our upbringing, our social and cultural conditioning, our family conditioning, and also the stories that live in us from, our karmic conditioning, if you like. And so when you step into the West with the place of jaguar, then you can heal or clean up those aspects in you, so that you become clearer and you see through the eyes of a jaguar much more clearly, and you can use your instincts really well. So I'm kind of giving you a potted version here, but
yes,
it might give you an
fine.
idea. And then when you step from the west, or that place of Jaguar, then you step into the north. And the north is a whole different kettle of fish, because the north direction is a place of hummingbird. And we see hummingbird as a great journeyer. You know, that tiny little bird that flies from North America down to Brazil, that it seems like it does impossible tasks, like flies upwards, downwards, backwards and forwards, and can hover. It's an extraordinary little bird that in the West we don't really understand, but in terms of the shamanic medicine wheel, what the hummingbird does is take us on a journey, that everything is a mythic journey, that you and I are on a mythic journey, that my journey in the last 18 months has been looking at the return of the king in my life, the return of that inner masculine. In previous times, I might have been on a journey to visit with Psyche in the underworld, you know, so everything is a journey. And this is, once you've worked out your old personal stories in the South, and you've drained the momentum from your karmic biological stories in the West, then you are able and clear enough to reclaim parts of yourself that you've left behind in the underworld somewhere on your journey to be a human being here. And we do, in the north direction, we do soul retrieval, so that you can start to reclaim yourself, all the aspects of you that have been lost throughout time, held in the underworld, ready for the time when your world would save enough of those aspects to come back. And so the north is really a way of reclaiming a new self, a different self, a whole self. And then in the next direction, and this is speak your truth. So remember I started off with show up and pay attention, speak your truth. So hummingbird, that north direction, is really speak the truth of who you are. That's not the truth. There is no truth. Certainly for us in the shamanic tradition, your truth and my truth is as equally valid as each other. So there is only your truth, my truth, everybody's individual truth. So speak your truth. And then the final piece is let go of the outcome, which is in the east direction, which for the Inca tradition of shamanism is that place of eagle, condor. That beautiful bird that has huge wings that flies way up above the mountains. And that this is the principle of transcendence, that we transcend it all, because at the end of the day we are none of those things, and yet we are all of those things. So in a place of eagle, we learn about how to die, and that the shaman of old and the shaman of today, we both walk with death as an ally, to understand that death is part of life, that the shaman holds this incredible wheel of life within them, of life and death and rebirth and life and death and rebirth, and that happens over and over again. And we're not good in the West at dying, are we? Of even letting things die, of letting things go, of saying, you know what, this relationship, it's not quite, certainly not what it used to be. How about we let it die and rebirth something new? Mostly in the West, we go, this relationship is dead, I'm out of here. And I, just to give you a little personal potted thing, I'm sure this person wouldn't mind me sharing this, but a friend of mine has been through an incredible life process, that she's just 50-something, and I've known her for 25 years.